Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone joining us from all over the world. Today we're here to celebrate Wikipedia. From Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, from all over the world really. My name is Emna Mizoni and I will be your MC for this celebration. I am really excited to be here with you all. I'm a volunteer Wikimedian, among other things. I joined this incredible movement almost a decade ago to fulfill my mission, documenting and promoting the history and heritage of my country, Tunisia. So 20 years ago, on January 15th, Wikipedia first started. And throughout the next hour, we'll be hearing from leaders from across the movement. We'll be sharing some Wikipedia trivia, and of course, we'll be eating some cake. This is just one of many celebrations that are happening around the world today and this weekend to celebrate Wikipedia turning 20 years old. There are Wiki 20 countdowns happening in Asia and Africa, a Wikidata editing live stream, and dozens of other community events that you can find on the meta page of the 20th birthday. We would love to hear from you all. And so you would tell us where you are joining us from or which event you're attending in the comment in the chat of either this live stream YouTube or on Facebook. And of course, we'll be monitoring those chats throughout the event and we'll circle back. So well, let's start now with our very first speaker. A very special guest today with us. I'd like to introduce you to the founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales. Over to you, Jimmy.
Great. Hello. What a wonderful and exciting day. And this is actually quite special for me because we've gathered together some very old friends, Florence, Tim, Phoebe, there's Anna, there's loads of people here. I shouldn't try and list everyone. So I'm just going to say a few words just to welcome everyone. And of course, on a day like this, the 20th anniversary of Wikipedia, it leads me to think back a little bit to the early days. I'm not going to talk a huge amount about it because I know Tim is going to talk about that later on. But I still remember, those very first days and those very first edits to Wikipedia when we didn't really know if this was going to work or not, but it seemed like an exciting step forward, a way to open things up from the Nupedia model to try something new. And of course, what we quickly learned is that what really matters about Wikipedia is not the technology, although that's important, but it's really about people. It's about the people behind Wikipedia. Wikipedia is it's a community. It's a group of people from all around the world. Wikipedia is really about building bridges. We know that today online, a lot of people get isolated in their own echo chambers. There's a lot of focus on the things that divide us, but Wikipedia is the opposite. We're about building a shared understanding of the world, that neutral point of view. And of course, how do we do it? Well, a lot of talking, a lot of dialogue, a lot of discourse, talk pages, Meta, Telegram, IRC, events like this. Wikipedians come together to discuss, to debate, and try to make Wikipedia better every day. So this birthday is a moment to celebrate this movement. It's been 20 years. We've been together working. And of course, in the early days, we had no experience building an encyclopedia. We had no idea what we were doing. But now you would be hard pressed to find any group of people anywhere in the world who have more experience building an encyclopedia. And we're pretty much the only people who have experience of building an encyclopedia in the wiki way. And so we're growing and growing. For me, one of the most exciting things to think about for the future, I've been asked this by journalists. They always want to know, oh, well, so it's been 20 years. What do you think Wikipedia will be in the next 20 years? And I always say, look, I think for most people, Wikipedia will be a lot the same as it is now. We're not going to turn into TikTok or something, right? We're going to be an encyclopedia. We're going to have words and text, and we're going to have people having lovely debates and arguments that sometimes are not as nice as they could be, but usually are hopefully pretty okay. But what you probably won't notice, unless you live there, is the growth of Wikipedia in the languages of the developing world. That next billion people coming online, the next 2 billion people coming online, that's the future of Wikipedia. And those people are the people who I'm really passionate about us supporting, growing their efforts, lending a hand where we can, but also stepping back and letting them do the work that they can do. So I'm going to hand off now. I just want to thank everybody. What a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. This is really, really inspiring to see the growth of Wikipedia through the founder of Wikipedia. And as you said, every month we estimate that more than 1 billion people, yes, 1 billion people from all over the world visit Wikipedia. This is huge. But how much do you actually know about Wikipedia? And so now from Jimmy, we're moving somewhere else. We're going to play a very short game of trivia about our favorite encyclopedia. The trivia game is thanks to the great Phoebe Ayres, a librarian from Boston, Wikipedian since 2003, co-author of How Wikipedia Works, and a previous member of the Wikimedia Foundation. Phoebe, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much. And I love Wikipedia trivia, and I'm very happy to be here. So I'm going to ask just a couple of questions. You can put your answers in YouTube or in Facebook, wherever you're watching. I have a few people helping me behind the scenes. And we'll read a couple of your answers and then give you the right one. So if that sounds good, let's get started. So as we all know, the English Wikipedia was founded on January 15th, 2001. But from the beginning, it was a multilingual project. So what were the next 3 language editions of Wikipedia to be created? I'll wait for a couple of answers to come in. We'll see what people think. And Tim actually is the one who discovered a lot of these early edits. So our historical record is a little shaky because many editions were created right around the same time. I'm seeing Spanish, Chinese, Catalan, French, German, Spanish. That's a really good guess. I will go ahead and show you that it was German, Catalan, and French, which were all created in March 2001. Followed quickly by many other language editions. Okay, next question. So we now have over 317 language editions of Wikipedia, which is incredible. And we're creating new language editions all the time because as linguistic communities come together to build new encyclopedias. So what were the 3 most recent language editions to be created? Does anyone know? We'll wait for a few answers. I've got Malay, Welsh, Klingon. That's a good guess. We did once have a Klingon Wikipedia, but that is not, in fact, the answer. It's been shut, Moroccan Arabic. So the answer is, and I apologize if I mispronounce these languages, Nias, Madurese, and Sarakai. Nias and Madurese are both languages of Indonesia, and Sarakai is a language of Pakistan spoken by over 26 million people. So welcome to those communities. We're so glad to have you. Okay, couple more questions. And I just want to say the first person in YouTube with the answer was Jeremy Michael Aceto. So congratulations to you, Jeremy. So we currently have many, many more articles than we ever imagined. From 0 articles in 2001, how many million articles are there now across all language versions? I'll let people guess. 51 million, that's a great guess from YouTube. Somebody guessed 55 million, 50 billion, that's a little on the high side, although we did just hit 1 billion edits. The answer is just over 55 million, 55.5 million or so edits, or articles rather. So that's incredible. Congratulations to us. Okay, one more question. Is there time for one more question? There are 13 sister projects in the Wikimedia universe. One of them got the most contributions in 2020. Which project was it? And there's a little delay, so I'll wait for people to answer this question. We've got some guesses coming in. Anas guesses Wikidata. A couple other people are guessing Wikidata. And in fact, the answer is Wikidata with 244 million edits in 2020. So that's incredible. Thanks, everyone, and we'll stop for now.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. That was very, very good. And thank you all for participating. So now I would like to introduce you our Catherine Maher, the CEO of the Wikimedia Foundation. And so as you all know, or may know, the Wikimedia Foundation is the global nonprofit that supports Wikipedia and all of the other projects. So Catherine, it's over to you now.
Thanks, Emna, and hello, everyone. Happy birthday. Happy 20th birthday, Wikipedia. I couldn't be more excited to be here today. I've been looking forward to this all year to mark this incredible milestone of 2 decades of free knowledge for the world. Over the past 20 years, Wikipedians have created the largest collection of free and open knowledge in human history, building on these grand traditions of ancient libraries and centers of learning, but also these more familiar traditions of conversation, community building, cooperation, and generosity. The theme of our birthday this year is 20 years human, and I can't think of anything more appropriate. To me, it means both the humans who have built Wikipedia and made it what it is today, as well as the fundamental humanity of Wikipedia. Since as far back as we know, the search for knowledge has really defined us as humans. Knowledge is what connects us to each other, to our past, and to our future. As individuals, we're curious seekers and explorers. And as societies, knowledge is what we share. It's what we build together over centuries, across cultures, continents, and languages. And in that sort of spirit, Wikipedia really is the collective output of our humanity. It's a map of our discoveries as well as what we have yet to find. And it is constantly evolving. Edited 350 times a minute, it gives us the opportunity to change and become something new, just like we change as people and as communities and as the world. I think this is why it feels so exhilarating to fall down those Wikipedia rabbit holes, because with every click and every link, we have the opportunity to learn something new. Today, when we celebrate Wikipedia, what we're really celebrating is the people behind it as well. Every month, hundreds of thousands of you edit Wikipedia around the world in nearly 300 languages, as you heard from Phoebe just now. And the fact that we exist at all is proof of your curiosity, as well as your generosity and the gift of knowledge that you give. Jimmy spoke a little bit about the beginning of Wikipedia in January 2001. And since that time, we've grown from this encyclopedia that anyone can edit into a global movement for free knowledge, united by a shared sense of purpose and a common set of values. We share this unwavering belief that knowledge can actually make the world a better place, and a shared sense of responsibility to contribute and cooperatively build the future that we want to see. People use Wikipedia for all sorts of reasons, from pop culture to the profound. And all of these are acts of knowledge as we seek to understand the world and the times in which we live. I think this felt especially true for many of us this past year. 2020 was a hard year. There's no getting around it. There was a global pandemic, massive economic instability, waves of political disinformation, a much needed reckoning with racial justice, and record-breaking climate crises around the globe. And as it has been throughout history, access to good information was vital as we all tried to navigate the moment. Wikimedians were remarkable. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers took on the unexpected responsibility of working through this most challenging of years to ensure that the world had access to accurate, well-sourced information, including the best possible public health information at a time when we needed it most. In this year of difficulty, Wikipedia gives me tremendous hope and joy and optimism. It illustrates the potential of what people can do when we come together. When we trust one another, we have the capacity to do remarkable things on behalf of the world. In this past year, we saw Wikimedians work with African climate scientists to expand information about climate change on Wikipedia, and hosting the very first Wiki Loves Earth photo campaign in Turkey, 1 year after Turkey came back online, receiving an incredible 3,600 new photos of Turkey to share with the world. Wikipedia connects us to one another and to our humanity. With all that has happened and with all that you have done so far, our 20th birthday is an opportunity to think about where we go from here. And as I like to say, our movement is practiced at accomplishing the impossible. Our recent 2030 movement strategy was an opportunity for us to contribute all of our voices to shape our next impossible feat. We came together through numerous global consultations to imagine the future of Wikipedia, where we want to be and how we want to make it happen, who we want to be. And together we recognize that to achieve our ambitious vision, a world in which every single human can freely share in the sum of all knowledge, we have to make a commitment to improving representation on Wikipedia and closing the gaps in our knowledge. We must ensure that everyone who wants to contribute to Wikipedia, who has something to share, has the opportunity to do so, and make the knowledge in Wikipedia more accessible to more people. We want to collaborate more with more partners with their own knowledge to share. We want to use our community, our technology, and our advocacy to elevate free knowledge for the world. The future ahead of us is enormous, an opportunity to reinvent as we have done in the past. As a movement, we're confident that we can change the world because we already have. On this special anniversary, I just want to thank everyone who's made this possible. I am truly in awe of all that you have created and done together over the past 20 years. And as we celebrate 20 years, I can't think of a better recognition of how incredible this community actually is. Happy birthday, Wikipedia. I know you all have celebrations planned around this world this weekend, from Minsk to Madrid and Cairo to Vancouver. And even though we're not in person to celebrate, we're together in spirit and in our commitment. We're about to go to a short video that highlights the remarkable people behind this movement that makes Wikipedia possible. So over to that.
For me, Wikipedia is a real way to change the world, because the knowledge I share is the knowledge other people have.
Everything is on Wikipedia. It is funny and it is brilliant.
It's a knowledge revolution.
The fact that anybody anywhere in the world can contribute to the platform makes the difference.
It's a human effort, making Wikipedia the best site we can have to make humanity a better place.
Happy birthday, Wikipedia.
For me, Wikipedia is a real way to change the world, because the knowledge I share is the knowledge other people.
Wow, that was an amazing video. And thank you so much, Catherine, for those thoughts and sharing that video. A lot to share, of course, and a lot to celebrate as a community, even if we're distanced and we're not together in one place. But as you said, by heart we are. I also wanted to recognize how many people are joining us today for our virtual birthday party. So we have over than 700 people watching us on YouTube live stream today. This is amazing. Thank you all for joining us. And now I'd like to turn it over to our communities. As you may know, we have several people from across the movement to share their stories and about how they first got involved and their work, of course. So let's start and go back to the beginning. Our next two speakers have both been working on projects since 2001. Yes, 2001. And so let's travel now to Australia. Good morning to Tim. Tim Starling has been working on Wikipedia since 2002. He's a principal software architect in the Wikimedia Foundation. He is the longest serving Wikimedia employee. He joined the foundation in 2006 after contributing as a Wikipedia volunteer. Over to you, Tim.
Thanks, Emna. Yeah, Wikipedia began as a project of the internet startup company Bomis BOMAS was founded by three partners, Jimmy Wales, Tim Schell, and Michael Davis. Based on our archives, the first edit to Wikipedia was made by someone in the BOMAS office at 11:27 a.m. Pacific time on the 15th of January 2001. They wrote, "This is the new Wikipedia!" exclamation mark. The path that the project would take at this time was highly uncertain. The content was under a free license, but the site was hosted at wikipedia.com, and there was an assumption that it would be eventually operated for profit. Wikipedia today is a rare example of a non-profit advertising-free space. The credit for making it be this way goes to the BOMAS partners. Even after the Wikimedia Foundation was created in 2003, Jimmy turned down offers from Silicon Valley venture capitalists who wanted to restructure Wikipedia as a for-profit entity. So I wanted to give thanks today to the three BOMAS partners who were responsible for making Wikipedia a non-profit. I especially wanted to thank the minority partners, Tim Schell and Michael Davis, since, like Jimmy, they made a sacrifice in order to make Wikipedia what it is today, but they don't often share in the credit. I wasn't there at the start. I discovered the site in October 2002, but from the first time I laid eyes on Wikipedia, I knew it was for me. I was a physics student at the time, and it seemed like my life choices had been driven by curiosity. I wanted to know how the world worked and how everything worked. But growing up in the 80s and 90s in a small town, access to information was hard. I remember begging my mother to drive me to the library in the school holidays and being turned down. Aunts and uncles gave us old books and magazines, which I pored over. So the idea of assembling the sum of all human knowledge and giving it away for free was one which deeply resonated with me. I've made it my life's work to do whatever I can to help this project succeed. Curiosity is a powerful instinct which drives us to better understand the world. It's the force behind all human progress, but it needs no external justification. Curiosity is our noblest urge and should be respected and encouraged. Wikipedia does not just answer our question, its hyperlinked form leads us down a rabbit hole from one interesting subject to another. I think in the current drive towards artificial intelligence and virtual assistants, too much emphasis is being placed on facts. If Wikipedia is personified as an artificial intelligence, I think it should be the kind of person that can never quite give a straight answer to a question. At the 2019 Sydney Writers' Festival, I watched the Australian science communicator Dr. Carl answer questions from children for 40 minutes. He had a way of turning any question into the starting point for a rambling exploration of some related field of study. The magic, I think, is in the connections more than the facts. That's how I imagine the Wikipedia of the future, as a narrative exposition of the world around us, always leading the reader on to new discoveries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. That was so insightful. And from the morning in Australia, we go to the early evening in France. And today we have Florence Devoir, a former chair of the Wikimedia Foundation board. Florence began editing her first Wikipedia article on the English Wikipedia in October 2001. And I'll let her share more of that story and why she continues to be part of our community till today. Over to you, Flo. You are muted, Florence. Yes.
So hello, everyone. I was just saying that I had an internet break, so I actually didn't hear my introduction, but the good news is I know myself. So I wanted to say first, I felt very honored to be here today at the birthday party. And I would like to second what Tim said in memory of previous partners, but also I would like to give us a memory for all those who left us, but participated so much to the project. So thank you. I am truly amazed by what we have accomplished. 19 years ago, when I discovered Wikipedia, I really had no idea what it would become, no idea at all. I knew nothing about free licenses. I knew nothing about free culture, nothing. In truth, it took me several years to figure out. And no one knew Wikipedia back in 2001, so it was very unlikely to run into it just by chance. It took me no less than 3 months to really do my first edit. And here is how it happened at that time. I like video games. and I was active in a video game forum, chatting with other players. And that was just after the September 11 attacks. And there were discussions around biological warfare, biosafety, biosecurity. I was trained in genetic engineering, so I had some knowledge about the topic. And there was basically no information on the internet about these topics, except on the US government website. So I started chatting on the forum with the others, and someone, an English Canadian activist, said, "Oh, but I know a website where you can put this." And he showed me wikipedia.com at that time. And it was completely scary to create a page. On top of that, it was all in English. And for a French person, you need to be perfect in writing English. So I would not dare doing anything. So what happened is I wrote a draft of an article on the video game forum. And after a while, the Canadian guy, copied and pasted it on Wikipedia. And after a few days, that article was the very first result on Google, above the US government information. So I was, wow, I really wrote that. Wow, I actually can teach American people. So the next thing that happened is that the article was blanked, not because it was not good, but just to stimulate me, seriously, what it takes to motivate someone. So they blanked it on purpose. I thought it was deleted. I was super disappointed. So I gave myself a big push and I managed to put it back on Wikipedia, and that was my first edit. It was so scary. And yeah, it was also before MediaWiki. So it was basic wiki code. And then people came and they improved my English. Nobody was upset. So I was super proud. And I felt honestly very warmly welcome. That was a great place. I thought it was magic to talk with people on the other side of the planet, to write with them, to do things, to collaborate. That was magic. So I stick there 19 years in different roles, mostly running program now to support emerging and underrepresented communities. And it's still magic after 19 years. So I would say 20 years gone, 20 years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Florence. Yes, it's magic. It's still magic. And we're at a party, right? So it wouldn't a proper party without music. And so now we're traveling to Jerusalem for a short musical break to see the magic coming from our friend and longtime volunteer, Amir Aharouni, who currently works at the Wikimedia Foundation. He will be playing the piano for us. Da-da-da-da. Up to you, Amir.
Hello, can you hear me? Great. Hi. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Shalom from Jerusalem. There's a joke going around Russian people who learn English, and the joke is in English, importantly. An American asks a Russian friend, "Do you have your own birthday song?" And the friend says, "Yes, we do. It goes like this. Jumping over the puddles, the pedestrians huddle as the water flows down like a stream. And they look and they wonder, in this rain and this thunder, why so smiling and happy I seem?" And the American gets very confused. The joke, of course, is that the American doesn't understand what do pedestrians and puddles have to do with birthdays. Well, anyone who is familiar with Russian culture knows that this song comes from a famous and very cute children cartoon called Cheburashka. Look it up. I heard it's big in Japan. It's indeed a birthday song, and the English translation doesn't make it easy to understand. The moral of the story for us, Wikipedians, is that we are a truly worldwide community, and we translate so much. Wikipedia articles and Wikidata labels and extensions and gadgets, and we do it really well. But there are also stories in the cultures and personalities of each one of us that are really hard to translate. But that's okay. We try anyway. So here's the actual tune, original music by Vladimir Shainsky, and words by Alexander Timofeevsky, English translation by Harry Somers, but I took the liberty of adding a few changes. So maybe you'll try to join in. Пусть бегут Неуклюже пешеходы по лужам, а вода по асфальту рекой. И неясно прохожим в этот день не похожий, почему веселый такой. А я играю на гармошке у прохожих на виду. К сожалению, день рождения только раз в году. Now English. Jumping over the templates, Wikimedians edit and developers write complex code. And the world looks in wonder in this rain and this thunder. How on earth this strange website work? And I'm playing my piano for the internet to hear. What a pity that birthday comes only once a year. Thank you. Happy birthday, Wikipedia.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emir. That was wonderful. How many of you laughed and how many of you danced behind? Because a lot of us in the backstage, we were dancing and laughing. And so we move, and for many of us in this movement, of course, we have been around and we have watched how our movement really has continued to grow over the past several years. And as it was mentioned earlier by the speakers and specifically by Jimmy, how we moved to many, many countries. And so now we're traveling to Nigeria. And we have with us Ayokanmi Oyayemi, and I hope I'm spelling it right, who is a Wikipedia volunteer editor from Nigeria and a program strategist with Wikimedia Nigeria. Ayo, over to you. Woo!
Hi, Emma. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. Firstly, thank you for this opportunity. I'm really so grateful. So my name is Ayokanmi. I'm a photographer and also a social entrepreneur. I've always believed in the need to contribute to the sum of human knowledge, but just haven't found a way until I joined the Wikimedia movement. And I joined the Wikimedia movement exactly around April 2016. That's when I made my first Wikipedia edit. And I made my Wikipedia edit mainly because there were lots of information at that period about the particular subject I was trying to look for on Wikipedia that did not represent the best interest of that article. Like there was an article there and the content didn't justify what it's all about. And I realized that lots of editors on that article were actually non-Nigerians. They were people that have no real local knowledge about it. And that's when I started editing Wikipedia. So then like, oh, there's an edit source. Wow, fantastic. And I started contributing to that phase and I was able to start improving content about articles and things like that. And so majorly, I try to focus much more on gender and also issues that have probably more of that are not well represented in terms of minorities. And one of the proudest moments for me as a Wikipedia editor was when the issue of the Uganda climate activist Vanessa Nakate came into life, where she was, controversially covered of a picture. And immediately I took it over myself. That was January last year. I took it over myself. I created a Wikipedia article for her in English. And immediately the page had quite a number of views in hours. Like, it was amazing for me. And immediately it was translated in about 5 different languages in less than 24 hours. For me, that was one of the very thing, that made me proud as a Wikipedia editor. And immediately that led to a new project which I started, called the Wiki for Black Climate Rights, because I realized that there were lots of Black climate activists that don't even have, we don't know about them. And so that led to the creation of a lot of Wikipedia articles for other climate activists in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya, and lots of these African countries. And that led to that project called Wiki for Climate Rights. So basically for me, this for me shows the impacts of of bridging information gap, and I can't be more proud of this moment that as a Wikipedia editor, you're able to bridge content, you're able to make sure that information about things is very accessible. And And as I say, happy birthday, Wikipedia, once again. And I'm proud to be a Wikipedia editor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayo. And as Catherine mentioned, our work now is more important than ever, and the world needs us more than ever. And so with that has been said, I would like to introduce you to another member of our community to speak about her incredible work and role in last year, and helping specifically make sure that millions of people around the world had access to good information about COVID-19 during the global pandemic. Now we're going from Nigeria to Sweden to hear from Dr. Neda Hussein, who is a scientist or a physician scientist who contributes medicine-related content on Wikimedia. Over to you, Dr. Neda.
Thank you, Emna. My name is Neda Hussein. I have been volunteering as a Wikimedian for over 10 years now. I mostly create content for Wikipedia articles, but I have also participated in outreach, external collaborations, communication, and research surrounding the Wikimedia movement. Outside of Wikipedia, I am a medical doctor and a researcher in clinical neuroscience. It was curiosity that first drove me to edit Wikipedia. It was so exciting for me to see that if I click on the edit button, I can add new content on any Wikipedia page that immediately becomes visible to the rest of the world. So this possibility of sharing free knowledge with millions of people around the world in languages that they speak sounded very exciting to me. And this is the reason why I still keep contributing to Wikipedia. As Wikipedians, we are the forerunners in collaborating with each other primarily online. So what the world is doing now during the pandemic, we started doing that 20 years ago. For the last 20 years, we have collaborated to build not only the world's largest encyclopedia, that too in over 300 languages, but we also have shared knowledge in other forms like images, code, books, codes, structured data, just to name a few. But now we are standing at a critical juncture in the history of humankind, where the COVID-19 pandemic brought tremendous changes in the way by which we traditionally did things. The pandemic has now brought the rest of the world to share and collaborate like we Wikipedians were already doing for the last 20 years. The pandemic is changing the world in a way that more and more people are now using the internet and subsequently Wikipedia to learn new information. So this leaves us Wikipedians with endless possibilities for creating new projects that could be run fully online. More and more museums are offering digital exhibitions, and this content could be integrated to Wikidata and Wikimedia Commons. More and more libraries are digitizing historical documents, which could be shared with the world through Wikisource. More and more people have started meeting each other online instead of in person, and this possibility should be adequately explored for doing Wikimedia outreach. Millions of students have fewer hours of classroom time now than ever before, and their extra time could be productively used for Wikipedia education programs. More and more scientific journal articles have become openly accessible now, whose content could be used to update Wikipedia. So my call for action today to my dear Wikimedians is to look for opportunities even during these times of crisis and use your Wikipedia skills and expertise to share knowledge creatively with the world. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Neda. Thank you for telling us about your incredible work and reminding us of our role as Wikipedians and Wikimedians around the world. And yes, it's important, it's vital. And sometimes I would say it felt like last year was so sad. We heard very little good news, but one bright spot actually was the announcement of our new Wikimedian of the year, Sanderster Tai. And so now let's travel back from Sweden to Africa and exactly to Ghana to meet Sanderster Tai, who was a co-founder of Wikimedia Ghana and has recently joined the Wikimedia Foundation as community relations specialist, yes, with the anti-harassment team. And so over to you, Sanderster.
Thank you. So I was invited to edit Wikipedia via a tweet about 7 years ago. And that's the earliest memory I have that prompted me to become an editor. Until date, the attraction for me is still the same, being able to contribute information that other people will find useful. Now, reading the book, the newly released book, Wikipedia at 20, Stories of an Incomplete Revolution, you know, the rich history that is captured in that book shows that we've come a really long way, and that sometimes I even regret, you know, not joining early enough to witness all of that. But 20 years of attempting and making good progress in the building of the sum of all, you know, human knowledge in an encyclopedic way, and not just the content, but also bringing together thousands of collaborators to do this. I think that feat is worth celebrating every day, including January 15th. And if Wikipedia was a person, it's no longer a teenager now, it's now all grown up. And that status comes with the expectation to make adult choices within this digital ecosystem, to become pioneers, to do things right so that others can look up to us, including being ethical, sustainable, diverse, having safe and inclusive platforms, embracing innovation while keeping our principles intact. And I strongly believe that we are making steady progress with these things. And I'm so proud of our community, and I'm so proud to be part of it. So on that note, let's celebrate today. Happy birthday to Wikipedia, to all of us, and happy adulting as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Yes, it is very important to celebrate. It's very important to also embrace the fact that we're Wikipedians and we're used to working from behind the scenes, behind the screens, and move forward. So I'd like now to invite Catherine back, because everybody's asking about Catherine and her hat. No, I'm joking. But she will be sharing with us some milestones and fun facts about the work of our movement and the work that our movement actually has accomplished over the past year. And of course, this is by no means a comprehensive list of the work that you all have done. But in case we missed something, and which is the case, we would love to hear from you in the chat. So please do not hesitate to write down in the chat about your work and achievements. And over to you, Catherine.
Thanks again, Emna. And yes, thank you for the compliments on my hat in the YouTube stream. I made it this morning. There's a link in the chat if you all want to make your own. So it is wonderful to be back with you and to celebrate our global communities. I want to just run through a few highlights. Could we go to the next slide, please? The first major accomplishment I'm going to celebrate this year is the Sum of All Paintings. This is a wiki project created by the Wikidata community that uses museum data to build a global catalog of all paintings, or at least that is the aspiration. It kind of is remarkable to think about all the paintings that exist in the world. But last year, the Sum of All Paintings reached a major milestone of having more than 500,000 paintings registered in Wikidata. Remarkable. So next slide, that must have been how Wikidata was the most edited per Phoebe's trivia point. The next slide is to talk a little bit about a few other accomplishments. In December 2020, Bengali Wikipedia reached 100,000 articles. Congratulations, Bengali community. The Afro-Cine editing contest to improve the representation of arts and theater in Africa received nearly 3,000 articles in more than 15 languages. If you're a fan of African cinema and arts, like Nollywood, for example, by all means, please join the Afro-Cine project. Wiki Loves Earth, which is the largest international photo contest dedicated to our planet's natural heritage, received more than 106,000 submissions from more than 34 countries. I guess probably just 34 countries, otherwise a little more specific. And then in 2020, the global Wikigap campaign to close the gender gap on Wikipedia gathered thousands of editors, including 250 new contributors for editathons around the world, and created articles that have been viewed nearly 45 million times since then. So every edit you make really matters. There you go. Next slide, please. I want to highlight the Wikimedia Morocco user group. They organized a strategy salon last February in Rabat, and they created these amazing javadors with the user group logo. They report that this may be the first time a Wikimedia related logo was actually printed on traditional clothing. Very cool. Next slide. Russia's Federal Agency for Ethnic Affairs formally recognized Wikipedia's contribution to preserving and strengthening Russia's indigenous multilingualism and gave Bashkir Wikipedia a special merit nomination. One of the first videos I saw celebrating the birthday came from Yakutsk in Russia, a different language community of the Sakha language Wikipedia. So very cool. Next slide, please. Wikimedia Venezuela created an online course to train educators in Venezuela, working with nearly 50 professors. The first ever One Lib, One Ref campaign in Africa was held to introduce more African librarians to Wikipedia. So One Lib, One Ref stands for One Librarian, One Reference. And during this campaign, we saw more than 27,000 edits from African contributors adding references through African Libraries Week. I look forward to that number growing next year. We also introduced a pilot program to train teachers on how to use Wikipedia in the classroom, working with 1,000 teachers across the Philippines, Morocco, and Bolivia in order to build Wikipedia into their lesson plans. Next slide. And exactly 1 year ago, the block of Wikipedia in Turkey was lifted. Here you can see the Wikimedia community user group in Turkey celebrating the lifting of the block with cake and, oh, I think we haven't gone to the next slide yet. Cake and tea. Since then, they have been working hard to reintroduce Wikipedia to Turkey. Last year, they held one editathon each month, partnering with a new organization to help create more content around themes such as Turkish jazz musicians and, of course, the Sustainable Development Goals. All right, and not last but not least, finally, in the past year, we have welcomed 11 new affiliates into our movement as we continue to grow. I am very excited. These are not, of course, a comprehensive list, but welcome to the Kurdish Wikimedians user group, the Indic Media Wiki Developers user group, Wikimedians of the Turkic Languages user group, Wikimedians of Western Armenian language user group, Wikimedistas de Uruguay, Wikimedians of the Uzbek language user group, the Para-Wikimedians community user group, Wiki Blind user group, the Wiki World Heritage user group, Helping Give Away Psychological Science user group, and Wikimedia Community of Kazakh Language user group. Welcome, everyone. All right, I think I am going back over to you, Emna.
Right. Thank you so much. It's so heartwarming to hear all of that happening. And a big shout out to my fellow colleagues in the affiliations committee that I see some of them in the chat, because they've been working hard on that too as part, and not only that. So we've also heard some of great things but in the background. And now I am super excited for the next very, very sweet segment of our show. The party now just started. It's time for our birthday cake. And so I'll ask all of our speakers to join us again with their cakes, to light some candles, and it will be very, very good to invite Emir back again, because we cannot have a birthday cake without singing, I guess. And so we're getting ready before also Emir gets ready with his birthday song. We'll go for a 2-minute video that is basically shared by all volunteers with birthday wishes from their languages. Over to the video now.
This song has lyrics in
Feliz cumpleaños, Wikipedia. Ya ni puedo imaginarme mi vida sin ti.
Grattis på 20-årsdagen. Happy 20th birthday. Wiki love to you and the community for eternity.
Shnorr vår insideli Wikipedia.
শুভ জন্মদিন উইকিপিডিয়া।
Wikipedia, happy birthday! Википедия, с днем рождения!
Everyone, ako po si Jasmine from the Philippines na bumabati ng maligayang ika-20 taon ng Wikipedia. Yay!
Sutayam Chi, member wa nyon kyulu ado Wikipedia. Sabashi mai verin ye. Wikipedia on the sambre. Ati ma yeriniti kan taji min chi. Hayatu tukao no kase. Hayatu tukao no kase.
عيد ميلاد سعيد ويكيبيديا بالصحة والسلامة وكاع اللي تمنيت إن شاء الله لعقبال 100 عام.
Maligaya, ika-20 Karawal, Wikipedia! Happy birthday! Happy birthday from the Philippines!
Right. Yay, that was super funny. Very, very nice to hear different languages, even though we don't speak them. And guess what? That was just a teaser. And now we'll share more later, a little bit later, from our community. And yeah, I got a little bit jealous and I got a hat too, and a cake, as everybody here. Yes, does everybody have a cake? Cake, yes. And so now Amir will lead us in a round of happy birthday before we blow the candles. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Wikipedia.
Happy birthday, Wikipedia. Happy birthday.
Joyeux anniversaire, Wikipédia.
Happy birthday, Wikipedia.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. My children made this cake and they had the idea to put little circles on with anything they could think of that you might look up in Wikipedia. So it's got lots of funny little things, penguins and things like that on it.
So my explanation is this is a very old piece of the big globe that was at Wikimania Taiwan for those who were there. There are some pictures and I have a piece.
Wow.
An old piece.
Nice, nice. Yeah. And we know that Tim has a very special cake too. I'm jealous from it.
Birthday Wikipedia. Yeah, I've got a puzzle globe on the top here. We think it was a speaker gift from Sun Conference or something, but yeah.
Mine is the astronaut that is in some of these images for the birthday celebration. One of our colleagues at the foundation, her daughter made it. It's amazing.
Nice, amazing. So yeah, and mine was supposed to be a very good cake, but we're in lockdown where I did not permit it. However, my dear husband made it look like 20 if it's legal. Yeah, that happens. We celebrate Wikipedia in the way that we can. Great, great, great. And so now we come over to the end of our birthday party. Of course, our celebration across the movement was just getting started, of course. And you can go to the 20th birthday web hub or the meta page to see what other celebrations are going on in the community near you or to post about. And we're going to close this party today with one final video. Thank you to the Wikipedians around the world who shared birthday wishes in their own language, from Filipino to Macedonian. We received really dozens of birthday wishes from all over the world. And to close, we're going to play out this video. And thank you again for everyone. Really thank you for watching, for joining us from all over the world to celebrate our Wikipedia. Long live Wikipedia.
Let's blow.
Dear Wikipedians, today we are celebrating an enormous achievement. 20 years of collecting and maintaining free and open knowledge in the open for everyone. Thank you to all of you who have been along for the ride and who will be in the future. Happy birthday from me and my fellow Wikidata people. Here's to many more anniversaries to come.
Feliz cumpleaños Wikipedia. Deseo que construyamos una enciclopedia más incluyente y con más biografías de mujeres.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag, Wikipedia.
Hi, I'm Paxahimsa Gethin, also known as Fun Crunch, and I'd like to wish Wikipedia a very happy 20th birthday. I've been an editor on the English Wikipedia for over 12 years, and I find it to be an invaluable resource for learning about our world.
Okurların ve gönüllülerin bol olsun. Nice yaşlara Wikipedia.
Maligayang kaarawan Wikipedia.
Muchísimas felicidades Wikipedia y sobre todo para todas las personas que alrededor del mundo contribuyen para que el proyecto siga creciendo. En especial, muchísimas felicidades a los, las y les wikipedistas latinoamericanos. Gracias por vuestro trabajo, por vuestra dedicación, por vuestra rigurosidad y por garantizarnos nuestro derecho a la información y al conocimiento libre. Que vengan 20 años más.
Happy 20th birthday Wikipedia. It has been such a great pleasure to be part of your story along with so many others.
Dulahang kasumaran Wikipedia.
Hi! Guess where these greetings come from?
Eh bien, de la Suisse. Happy Birthday, buen cumpleaños, joyeux anniversaire und herzliche Glückwünsche, Wikipedia.
Felicidades, Wikipedia. Muchas gracias por existir, gracias por todo lo que nos das. Brindo porque de ahora en adelante sigas gozando de una buena salud y en el futuro infinito sigas creciendo en la difusión del conocimiento libre y accesible a todo el mundo. De verdad, muchas gracias. Felicidades.
All the best to all the Wikipedians around the world for the 20th anniversary of our common work. We are really changing the world. Step by step.
Maligayang kaarawan Wikipedia. Kami dito sa Pilipinas ay nagpapasalamat sa iyong walang sawang pagtulong upang mapalaganap ang kaalaman ng libre at malaya para sa lahat. Maligayang kaarawan.
Beni, Bidi, Wiki.
Hola, gracias a todas las personas que hacéis posible la existencia de Wikipedia, esta gran obra colaborativa que crea, comparte y difunde conocimiento libre. Felicidades, Wikipedia.
Gikan diri sa dakbayan sa Subo ang akong pagtimbaya sa pagsaulog sa ika-20 tuig sa kasumaran sa pag-ugmad sa Wikipedia.
Hi everyone, my name is Justice. And I want to say I feel happy to Wikipedia. 20 years is a long time, and I wish everybody in the movement well.
Feliz cumpleaños Wikipedia.
Muchísimas gracias por estos años de conocimiento, de comunidad, de compartir y de crecer juntos. Por muchos años más.
Herkesin bilgilerini diğer insanlarla da paylaştığı nice mutlu yıllara. İyi ki doğdun Wikipedia.
Des de Barcelona, feliç aniversari Wikipedia i desitjo que entre totes les persones voluntàries que et fem créixer aconseguim que el coneixement compartit ens faci més àries i més lliures. Felicitats i que visquis 20 anys més com a mi.
From Wikimedia Taiwan, 祝维基百科20周年生日快乐，也希望2030能有更好的发展。
Happy birthday Wikipedia, I wish you a wonderful 20th birthday. Wikipedia is the world's largest internet encyclopedia. I am so proud to be part of this Wikipedia community. Thank you.
Enhorabona a la família wikipedista per seus 20 anys. Per molts anys, Wikipedia.
Здраво, јас сум Кирил Семеновски и јас ја редувам Википедија. Најголемиот слободен проект и најголемата енциклопедија во светот, која што благодарение на придонесите од страна на милиони доброволни уредници, денес брои на 55 милиони статии достапни на повеќе од 300 јазици. На 15 јануари оваа година, Википедија прославува 20 години од своето постоење. По тој повод, би сакал на сите википедијанци да им го честитам големиот јубилеј и да им се заблагодарам за нивните досегашни придонеси. Сигурен сум дека со здружени сили и во иднина ќе продолжиме да го збогатуваме и распространуваме свободното знаење.
Maugmang kamundagan Wikipedia, lugod magtarabangan pa kita sa pagpatalubo kay ni Mabalus.
¡Feliz cumpleaños, Wikipedia!
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Sunana Mudassir Mantu daga jihar Lagos. Ina mai taya Wikipedia Hausa muna zagayowar shekara 20. Allah ya ba mu alkhairi baki daya.
מזל טוב ויקיפדיה.
בשם קהילת ויקיפדיה העברית וויקימדיה ישראל, אנחנו מאחלים לך שתמשיכי לצמוח ולגדול ולהרחיב את קהילת האורחות והאורחים.
יום הולדת שמח.
З днем народження, Вікіпедія! Росте велика!
Felicidades a todas las editoras y editores, porque gracias a ellos se hace posible este proyecto colaborativo. ¡Feliz cumpleaños, Wikipedia!
祝维基百科20周年生日快乐 ！Happy 20th birthday to Wikipedia!
প্রিয় উইকিপিডিয়া, ভাবতেই অবাক লাগছে যে দেখতে দেখতেই আমরা 20 বছর পার করে ফেলেছি। এই 20 বছরে হয়তো আমরা অনেক কিছুই করতে পেরেছি, আবার হয়তো এমন অনেক কিছুই রয়েছে যা এখনো করার বাকি। কিন্তু এইটুকু তো নিশ্চিত করেই বলা যায়, উন্মুক্ত জ্ঞান সমৃদ্ধ বিশ্বের যে স্বপ্ন আমরা দেখেছিলাম, সে স্বপ্ন পূরণে আমরা দৃঢ় পদক্ষেপেই এগিয়ে চলেছি। বাংলাদেশ থেকে আমি শাবাব, তোমার 20 বছর পূর্তিতে জানাই অনেক অনেক শুভেচ্ছা। শুভ জন্মদিন।
Вітаю з днем народження Вікіпедії. Це, направду, найкраще місце в інтернеті і я вважаю, щоб так залишалося і надалі.
Maugmang kapangakian sa Wikipedia.
З днем народження Вікіпедія.
Assalamu alaikum. Sunana Abubakar Egwanki, editan Wikipedia daga Hausa Wikimedia User Group kuma daga English Wikimedia User Group. Ina taya dukkan daukacin ma'aikatan Wikipedia murnar cika shekara 20 da samar da babbar manhajar ilimi ta duniya. Happy birthday Wikipedia.
Soy Marisa González. Quiero felicitarnos por cumplir la Wikipedia 20 años. Y yo hago de mujeres en el arte contemporáneo para reducir la brecha de género en la sociedad y también en la Wikipedia. De nuevo, felicidades a todos. Gracias por vuestra...
З днем народження, Wikipedia.
Felicidades, Wikipedia. Espero que cumplas muchos años más. Nosotros que lo veamos.
Assalamu alaikum. Sunana Abdulmalik Mansur Sharif daga Kano. Ina yi wa Wikipedia fatan alkhairi na cika shekara 20 da ta yi. Hakika wannan dandali na Wikipedia yana matuƙar taimakawa ba kaɗan ba, ganin cewa yadda ɗalibai suke amfana da sauran mutane ma baki ɗaya.
Baluardo della conoscenza libera, universale e accessibile a tutti gratuitamente.
Auguri all'enciclopedia libera che ha rivoluzionato il web e anche il modo di creare una comunità virtuale di cui faccio orgogliosamente parte. Happy birthday Wikipedia!
Eid Milad Said, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia có cái iPhone còn một người pro ngu tầm này